So I am a Star Wars fan. I think all Star Wars fans have at one time or another seriously considered cosplaying or wearing clothes in a Star Wars theme. As Halloween was approaching, I really wanted to become Darth Vader. I do know that there are almost professional-looking, full-on costumes out there, but they're really expensive and you can't really wear them to work. So I wanted something that I could wear just at home when taking a walk, not necessarily a Halloween costume, just something cozy that was Star Wars themed, preferably Darth Vader, and I came up with this. So I bought this from Uniqlo. I have really sensitive skin. This, fortunately, it's 60% cotton and 40% polyester. This is a hoodie for all gender. So if it's in the women's section, I usually have to go for like L or XL, but I got it in small, otherwise it was too big. It was about 4,000 yen, which is not cheap. I don't really want to destroy this, but I can't wear it every day if it's not cozy, so the sleeves look like this. It's got a hood, as you can see. One of the important things for me here, they've got pockets, see? On either side. I forgot to mention that this jumper or hoodie that I got at Uniqlo, it's called Sweat Pull Parka in Japanese. Parka, because hoodie is parka. So if you want a similar one, you can get it under that name. Now I want to turn it into something Darth Vader-y by stitching on marks that can be found on the real Darth Vader using these things that you can get at Daiso or any 100 yen place. I think most of the lines will be stitched with this grey yarn for the needle. I already have a set of needles, but they're getting old and rusty, so I bought some 8 needles for 110 yen sewing set, and just maybe, if I do want to write Star Wars in big letters, I'm going to use yellow. The buttons that you can see on like the chest of Darth Vader, it's in red and green, I think. It looks blue in some scenes, and then this is just pretty, so I got it light blue and just white, because white will stand out against the backdrop of black. And I got this. So this is supposed to stretch whatever cloth you're going to stitch. Embroidery hoop, it says. I think most decent ones are made of wood, but I got everything at Daiso, so this is plastic. I got a water erasable marking pen to draw the lines where I'm going to stitch. It takes like 5 seconds and the white ink starts coming out. Once you wash the cloth, the lines will disappear. So I thought this would be quite handy. Except for like emergency fixes, like sewing on loose buttons, I haven't been stitching for close to 18 years maybe. I watched some YouTube clips of other people doing it. I'm notoriously clumsy. I will just give myself enough time to just enjoy, to do like a hobby. I will start drawing first, stitching second. I don't know how many days it's going to take, but wish me luck. So here I've got some photos of Darth Vader costumes that I pulled off the internet. It looks different in every picture that I check out. I think the real costume is more metallic, and so there are, for the iconic chest blaze, it's all black, but because they use metal plates in certain places, it shines and it sort of looks a different shade of black, maybe like grey or whitish. But comfort first, I'm not going to put actual metal plates. I'm not going to do it all around either. I could draw like white lines here. This V shape seems to be important. I'm not going to put a cape over myself, so maybe just stitch grey lines. This guy looks grey in certain places. And then there are these buttons that I want to replicate on the chest. This green and red button. Maybe I could do the outline of this metal shoulder plate in grey, and then the buttons could be white. Anyway, I will have to draw And I'm not really particular about these things. I know that there's like a tracing paper for clothes. So if you really want to make sure to not make a mistake, I think you can go for that and draw beforehand on the tracing paper and then trace it onto the parka. I can't really be bothered to do that. So for the shoulder plates. So this is the middle because it's got the fold. I've got to make space for the chest plate. So maybe up till here. Oh, it's so cool. There's quite a lag from the time you put the pen down to when it actually comes out. I have so much respect for the costume designers. How do they do it? It's amazing how they do it. Okay, and this will be green. Oh yeah, this comes out. This is the inner hoop. I'm supposed to get this inside. Thus, put this here. How do people get... Oh. Okay. No. Loosen the bolt here to make it easier. Here it goes. Here we go. Oh, is it going? Is it going in? Yes, I think it just, yeah. Okay. It fit. And then you tighten the grip. Okay, so this is actually nice because if I don't have the hoop, by mistake, I could put the needle through the back cloth as well, whereas I just want to stitch the front. I think there needs to be more tension. I think it needs to be more stretched out. Oh no! Okay, nice. So I should start here or here. Maybe go like this. And do a back stitch. Here's my sewing box that I had from grade 6. So the hardest part was actually threading the needle. Sometimes, if I was very lucky, I could do it just with my hand. Yes. But most of the time I needed a threader. It took a while for me to get the hang of where to hold the threader while I was threading, because the threader would break. Died. In the end, I was able to continue sewing with the needle in my collection that had the biggest hole at the top. Huge hole and a huge needle. Okay. I was planning to stitch with double threads, but since it was so hard to thread the needle even with one thread, I changed my plan to stitching with a single thread. Not only was it hard to thread the needle with double threads, it was also hard to make both threads go through the thick and dense fabric. So that's why I went with only a single thread. But the outcome was quite satisfactory, so it really wasn't a problem in the end. This is me trying to begin a backstitch. I put the needle through an area a little far from the actual starting point. Then I backstitch away When I'm done, I flip it over and saw through the stitches I've already made. This is actually me making a mistake because I only did it once. You're supposed to do it twice. First one backwards. And then the second one forward. And then it becomes fixed so you can cut the end. Then you have to remember the end you left in the beginning sticking out. So you pull that thread out, put it through a needle, and do the same thing for that end as well.
Currently looks like this. Everyone will see that it was homemade because no store would make it this bad. But the main thing is, now I know it works.
What follows is just a montage of me backstitching away. It took a really long time, so I've sped it up by 2000%. The operation itself is quite simple, but as I hope you can see, it took a lot of force to stitch through a thick, dense fabric like this.
So I've got a white yarn, and I'm gonna do what's called a chain stitch.
As always, I start by sticking the needle through a spot that's a little far from the actual starting point of the stitch, and I leave out just the right amount of yarn to finish up later. Once I've started the stitch, I'm going to sew through a spot right next to the point I started, like this, and make a loop with my finger. Then I sew through the loop and repeat the same sequence. To finish up, I stick my needle through a spot that's right on top of the final loop. You have to make sure you don't pull the string too hard at the end so as not to make the loops too strained and small. Finally, you turn over the embroidery hoop and add the finishing touches in the same way as the other stitches. For the red and green buttons on the chest plate, I chose a stitching method called the Long&Short Stitch. This method is suitable for covering large areas. To begin, choose an area that will be covered by your stitches in the future. Do one running stitch, leaving some length of thread sticking out at the front. And then go back with one backstitch. That will fix the thread so that it won't get pulled out. Once you've done this, you can cut the front end off. Then we begin the long and short stitch. The long stitch has to cover about 75% of the whole width that you're going to stitch. While the next short stitch has to stretch more than 50% of the total width you're going for. Then we just keep repeating long and short stitches till we reach the end. At the end, we saw through the stitches we made, first in the direction of end to beginning, and then in the opposite direction. Once we've done this, the thread is fixed, so you can go ahead and cut the loose end. Finally, we move on to the next row and repeat the same exercise. This was my first long and short stitch, but I'd say it's not too bad. Voila! On the back side of the hoodie, I drew a Death Star. I used the embroidery hoop as a pattern for the outline. I also wrote a quote from Rogue One, which in hindsight may not be as recognizable as some quotes from other major Star Wars movies, but it was a favorite. As usual, I didn't really calculate the space for the lettering, so I ended up having to erase the rough sketch. But the good thing about the pen I was using was that you can just erase them with water, and once the fabric's dry, you can just do a rewrite. For the finish, I used acrylic paint markers from a distro. They have really vibrant colors and they're supposed to withstand even machine washing after the right processes. And here's the instruction card. They also have YouTube instruction videos. Before usage, you have to shake the pen and gently press the tip against a spare paper to make the ink come down all the way down to the tip. This is me drawing the Death Star with a silver pen. The silver really popped against the black. I drew the laser beams initially in green, but I found that they didn't quite pop enough, so I drew some lines in gold alongside the green lines to make them stand out more. There is a metallic version of these pens, so they may have been better suited for this project. The quote was also written in blue at first, but silver popped out more, so I rewrote it in silver. Here's how it looked at the end. After the paint is completely dry, so I let it dry for about 24 hours, I went on to heat set it for permanence and washability. You need to cover the drawing with a spare cloth, then iron the whole area with the iron set at medium to high temperature for about 3 to 5 minutes. I waited for 2 days after ironing, and then I went on to hand washing the cloth with cold water. I'm not sure what this process does for permanence and washability, but I think you shouldn't skip this step before machine washing it. So I would like to move on to sticking the ends of the yarn that I knitted, so here, with this glue. Now, I bought this glue on Amazon. I saw some people on YouTube using this glue to finish up the back side of the fabric that they punch stitched. In Japanese, it's called free stitching. So I think it's more used to stick two fabric pieces together, but it can also be used to make sure that the ends of the precious yarn that I stitched into this hoodie don't pull out, because then the whole thing would come apart. And I want this hoodie to be able to withstand everyday wear. I don't want to have to keep fixing it. See here, it's not supposed to come out, but it could very well come out. So, in Japanese, the product name is 裁縫上手. I think you can use a normal glue. I'm supposed to use this spatula to spread the glue. Maybe I'll just go for the ends first. I will pull it, and then I think it already has come out. Hang on. can just put the glue here. Maybe use this spatula to spread it thin, because I don't want to wait forever for it to dry. I think I'm gonna stick my fingers. And then after this, I repeated the same process for all the other ends as well. I haven't finished all the gluing, but I need to dry the parts that I already have, because while I was operating, I almost mistakenly put parts of the hoodie that weren't supposed to go together. So here I go. Here's the hairdryer. At this point, it is already dry, but I think I should show you what it looks like from the other side. I think it's okay. I think the white lines that I see here are not glue. It's just the lines that I drew before I stitched. I haven't washed my hoodie yet, so you can still see some of the remains. But you can see here, this is the part that I've already glued. On the back side, I've glued the ends of the yarn, and you can see that, well, the point is you can't see anything, which is good. So, at least for this type of thick fabric, the glue doesn't show on the front, even if you apply it on the back. Okay, so I've applied the glue everywhere where there were loose ends of the yarn, and now it's securely stuck to the fabric. I've already heat dried the glue with my hairdryer, so yeah, maybe I should do the ironing to securely dry it. Yeah, the instruction was to do it in the range of 140 to 160 degrees. Okay, so it said to iron it over another cloth for 15 to 20 seconds. This shirt I'm throwing out anyway, like 15 to 20 seconds, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, cool. So I've done the iron heating to all the parts of this hoodie, and now I'm going to put it on. So here I am. Ooh, my room is messy, but never mind. So, sorry for the trembling, but I hope you can see that basically there's nothing wrong with it. I feel really comfortable in it. It looks good as well. Oh, finally! It took so long for me to complete this hoodie that I've been working for 2 weeks, and the total span of the manufacturing was about 3 weeks, so it does take a lot of time, but just making it, the process itself gave me a lot of joy. I just look forward to force choking everyone. I will have to wash it sometime. They said once I've applied the glue, I have to wait for a day before I put it in the washing machine. And I will give you an update on how much damage my hoodie sustains throughout the washing process. So as you can see, I washed my hoodie in the washing machine. I took care to put it in a net. But as you can see, no damage at all. The paint on the back is still intact as well. So now we have a Darth Vader hoodie that you can wear comfortably and wash very easily. I hope that this movie will be of some service if you want to make a similar Star Wars themed hoodie, and may the Force be with you.